Okay. Okay, so you can have your legs extended as usual. You can extend your legs, you can have your feet standing on the floor. Just do what makes your whole back happy. If you feel any tightness through the rib cage spine, through the big kind of outward bowing part of your spine, might just kind of just like moving the ribs from side to side, just on your back. Comfortable little side bend, and just make yourself as comfortable as possible. Feet on the floor or legs extended, and then just let your arms come away from your sides. If you want to close your eyes here, you can close your eyes and take a few breaths. Begin by anchoring your awareness in the sensations of breathing, coupled with the sensation of just being on your back, on the floor. Feel the ground beneath you. Notice any sensations of restlessness or agitation or tension. Let's take another 4 or 5 breaths. Watching, allowing for it to just establish its own natural, easeful rhythm, cadence. And then from here, if both of your feet are standing up on the floor, if you've got your feet on the floor, then go ahead and extend your legs. And then bring your left foot up to stand, slide the foot up outside of the foot until your foot is standing on the floor. And then cross the knee over the midline, push the hips a little to the right. We'll arch in your spine, and just let this be very comfortable, just well within comfortable window of tolerance, range of motion. You're just repeating the same movement, same leg. Move with gravity. So let the movements be very fluid, very loose. Right, as much or as little of that arch in your back as you want, as you're comfortable with. One more. We'll do 5 and 5, 5 left hip, left leg, 5 right leg, right hip. We'll slide up the right foot. And that sliding up of the foot looks a little bit like you're gonna do tree pose on your back, or you're doing a little half soles of your feet together. Then the knee comes up, your foot is standing on the floor, and you push. And you let your hips turn, and you let the back arm, shoulder, just do whatever it does as a consequence of you moving your hips and your spine. Two more. Both legs are long again, and just pause here and take a breath. And then let's come to your head. Bring your hands together behind your head. Right, letting this position be inhalation, right? So slight arch in the low back, lift of the chest. Then on the exhale, rounding up, elbows in. Arm strength, chest strength, pulls your head up off the floor. Long lower spine, right? All of that. And then come back down on the breath in. So it should feel a little bit like cow pose and cat pose. I'm just leaving my feet on the floor, just moving more just head, shoulders, and upper back, but feeling that tilt, extension and flexion of the lumbar spine, the tilt of the pelvis. Two more. Good, and then you can let the head go. Take a breath here, and then let's bring the legs up, the feet up off the floor, and the legs at like 90-degree bends at the knees. And then do what you need to do to keep your lumbar spine lengthened on the floor, your abdomen pulled in, right, and this little bend in your knees. Keep this as much as you can the entire time. You might have to just keep coming back to it, but as much as you can, just keep the contraction, and then send one big toe to the floor to tap the floor, and then the other. Just go back and forth with your legs. Left toe, right big toe, left big toe, right big toe, and your lumbar spine never leaves the floor. Do breathe. Or hold as well as you can. It's nice, strong contraction across the lower abdomen. Let's do 5 more with each foot. 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. And then let both feet come back to the floor. Extend both legs long, reach both arms long over your head. Pull, hook your thumbs together, fully extend. Take both legs a little bit off to the right. Both legs a little to the right corner of your mat. And then both arms and your head and your shoulders a little more to the right. Back to center with your legs, with your arms, shoulders, and head, and then off to the left. Both heels off to the left corner of the mat, and then arms, head, and shoulders. One big breath in, out. Good, and then come back to center, arms alongside you, bring both feet to stand on the floor. And then come on an exhalation into bridge pose. So take a breath on your back and then exhale. Press the feet, lift your hips, lift your spine. Take your arms over your head to the floor behind you. Inhale, spine to the floor, hips to the floor. Exhale, hips up, spine up, bridge pose. Exhale, everything comes back down. Do that one more time, where you leave the arms, and you come back down, leave the arms over your head. Come up into bridge pose with just your right arm coming up and over your head. And then back into bridge pose. Bring the arm back down as you lower your spine. And then just one time with your left arm. Leave the arm. Exhale, lift. And lower. There's a garbage truck in here. And cross right thigh over left thigh. Cross right arm over left arm. Intertwining the forearms, let the hands come to rest on your head. And then drop both knees to the right. Let the spine curl. Feel a little bit of that helix action in your spine, then come back up onto your left foot. Back to center, drop again to the right. Back up onto your left foot, come back to center. Do two more. Let the arms go, let the cross of your legs go. And take left leg over right leg, left arm over right arm. And eagle pose on your back. Drop knees to the left. And return to the sole of your right foot. At your own pace. Three more. You don't have to force anything in any direction. Just let gravity, the weight of your body do the work. Good, and then unravel the arms and unravel the legs. Pause here and take a breath. Maybe push the feet, pick up your hips, lengthen the low spine, balanced weight across the low back. And then bring yourself over onto your side and bring yourself from there, slowly come up to a seat. So come to any comfortable seat. You can sit, if you want to sit up on something, you can sit up on a block, a blanket, comfortable. seat where you can have some length in your spine. So in the Tuesday class last week, we used little hand weights. This is a 3-pound hand weight, dumbbell, free weight. Anything heavier than this is going to be heavy to work in the top of your shoulder. Okay, if you don't have them, right, don't worry about it. Or if you have them somewhere, maybe you find them for next week. We may just start to integrate a little bit of extra load into stuff that we do in the shoulders and the arms. If you have one, even if you don't have one, right, this is going to be the movement. As if the weight were facing the floor, your palm is facing the floor, you just take it up as high as you can take it up slowly, and then just lower it back down. So even if you're weightless, just repeat that same movement. Slowly squeezing into the deltoid. The deltoid is this big, all the cap of your shoulder. Two more, nice and slow. As high as you're comfortable going. If you have issues in your shoulders that prevent you from going fully extended overhead, just go as far as that shoulder will let you go. And a nice long extended arm is really going to create that sense of the work and the kind of the burn in the muscle. If you need to be in closer, bend your elbow a little bit, and then do 5 with your left shoulder. Longer arm, slower movement, more work. Good. Roll your shoulders once or twice. Okay. And then if you have a pair of these weights, just do them both at the same time. And if you're weightless, just, for today, you don't want to get up and bother looking for weights. You just take both arms up until you feel a nice kind of tightening and squeezing into the tops of the shoulders. And lower both arms back down. Move slowly enough to really feel the squeeze in the deltoids. One arm at a time is work. One weight at a time is work. 2 weights at the same time is double. Sure feels like double the work. 2 more, do 2 more. Good. And then roll your shoulders a few times. Take one arm across and pull the arm until you get a broadening and opening across the back of the shoulder, top of the shoulder, outer shoulder. Other shoulder. Nice. Okay, from there, come to your hands and your knees. Come to all fours. Cow pose and cat pose. Notice the sensation of extension along the abdomen, center line of your abdomen. After just a time, we just did a little bit of work in the abdomen and just feel. So maybe holding on to Fibers are holding on to their last little bit of contraction, and just feel them lengthen and stretch. Just take one more breath. Good. And then from there, curl your toes under and send your hips back. If it's okay on your knees, hips back toward your knees. And then get a good push through your palms. Really press the floor. Bring your knees up off the floor and then set your knees back down. And can you just raise and lower your knees 4 or 5 times? And if this is not a happy thing for you to do for your knees, you could just be here, all fours with your hips over your knees, just lifting the knees, set the knees on the floor. We could all do that a few times to engage the legs. Feel the engagement of your quads, the weight of your quadricep muscles holding on. Your arms really fire up as well. And then just come into downward facing dog from there, right? In any way that makes sense for you to get up, push. Take the knees up and back. Do you feel your shoulders? Do you feel your shoulders after a little bit of work in the shoulders? You could go a little wider with your hands. Give the shoulders some space, some room to breathe. Take 3 more breaths in downward facing dog. Good. And then just bend your knees, drop your knees to the floor. Take hips to heels. Take a breath or two in child's pose. And come back up onto all fours. Find yourself in downward facing dog again. And then feel how much length you have from your hands to your hips, all the way to the bottom of your spine. All of that long line through the shoulders. Through the shoulders, so chest coming back toward the fronts of your thighs, nice and long, right? We're going to try to keep, and a lot of that is a good strong flexion into the upper back and the backs of your shoulders. So how much of that can you keep while you step your feet forward? Right, so just keep going. Try not to collapse the shoulders. Just keep trying to bring your hips more over your hands. Work it in the way that you need to. Trying to keep the arms long and the shoulders long and the spine long. And go back with your feet and find downward facing dog, a more comfortable posture. There. And bring the knees down. And come back into child's pose. Off of your feet. Off of your hands, rather. Off of your other feet. You could just sit on your feet and shake your hands. However, you could stand on your knees and shake your hands out. And then forearms, drop down to all fours, drop down to your forearms, all forearms, interlace your fingers together, drop your head, let the weight of your head go, look back, curl your toes under, dolphin pose, So with the weight of your upper body out of your hands, feel the weight pressing down through your forearms. Outer wrist, press it all the way into the outer wrists and the outer edges of your hands. Just creating that same strong flexion and support around the shoulders and the upper back. If your neck is more comfortable looking at the mat, you could just kind of bend at the back of the neck a little bit and look down at the mat. Take 2 more breaths. We'll lower the knees again and come out of your arms. So go back into child's pose or sit back on your feet or stand on your knees. Good. From all fours, 1 foot underneath your hip. Push into that foot, bring your other foot forward, fold, come up to stand. Good, and then mountain pose, right? Find your heels, let your heels come underneath your hips. Take your heels off the floor as you reach your arms over your head. Let your arms fall back behind you and down as you lower your heels. Inhale, reach forward and up. And then back behind you, big wide winged circles with your arms. Nice and controlled lift of your heels, extending the ankles, lowering the heels, flexing the ankles. 1 more this way. Reach back, lift the heels, back and up, and then forward without falling forward. Catch yourself in whatever way you need to catch yourself. Back and then forward. Back and then up. And then forward and then down. 2 more. Okay, and then from there, to balance on 1 leg, let's try a little dynamic movement, a little functional movement while trying to balance on 1 leg. And you get to use the floor in whatever way you want to use the floor with your lifted foot. Kitty see the bug, I think. So, and what you're going to do is just kind of maybe switching hands each time you bend down. You're going to lift 1 leg, maybe it goes back behind you. Can you just reach down and touch the floor? And then come back up. See if you can stay balanced. Use the floor when you need to use the floor. Tap the floor, and then other hand reach down. Reach down, touch the floor. Stand back up. Switch hands. Stand back up. Lots of wobbling and moving around. Switch hands, touch the floor. Come back up. Let me do 2 more. See if you can like reach opposite arm, that first hand, touch the floor, but maybe reach across or out to the other side. And then come back up. This works your hip, your leg, your knee, your ankle a lot more. You get tired, that whole leg, you can feel it getting tired more quickly. Both feet to the floor. Yeah, let that standing leg release and then switch legs. Reach down, touch the floor, and come back up. So we did 6, right? Opposite hand, reach down, touch the floor, catch yourself in whatever way you need to catch yourself. Really feel it in your hip, standing back up. That's all hip. Modify whatever way you need to modify for your hip. 2 more. Last one. Yeah, and then stand in mountain pops and let all of that go. Just feel the strength of your hips. It is fatiguing for the hip muscles. Good. And then wide arms. Let's, if you have weights and you want to use the weights, you can pick up your weights. If without weights, right, you're still going to try to feel the same action in the tops of your shoulders again, right? So if you come to warrior 2, feels good. In your legs, let all of the rib cage turn to face or this long edge of your mat. So adjust your feet accordingly if you need to. And then you're out here with your arms, and then you're just lifting. And then lowering to horizontal, right? Lowering to extended. Fine. Without weights, you're still using the same squeeze, moving slowly, working just as hard. You're not using weights, just point strongly into your fingertips, long wrists, long hands. 3 more. I keep my feet here, but just set my weights on the floor. Find the seat and the legs again. Extend your arms. Feel how light your arm. Two more breaths. We're gonna go the other way. We're gonna do a little dynamic movement again through the arms and the shoulders with weights or without weights. But just a more bicep curl. So you'll start with your palms facing upward. Same warrior 2 in your legs. Your arms out. And you're just folding the hands to the shoulders. If you're without weight, still squeeze the biceps. Keeping your elbows level with your shoulders. Two more. Squeeze. Keep your legs where they are. Carefully set your weights back down. Warrior 2 in your legs. Light, long arms, 5 breaths. Let the arms go. Turn in your toes, stay wide with your feet. A strap behind your back if you have a strap and you want to just create a little bit of space to get the shoulders into extension to forward fold, or just bring your hands together on your back. And then fold. Soft knees, right? Extend the knees a bit, and then reach up off of your back with your arms. The arms come up and over. let the weight of your arms hang. You don't have to really pull or push too much. Here, maybe every breath, every other breath, you just give a little readjustment. 2 more breaths. Just let the hands go. Let the hands come to the floor, all right? And then from here. On an inhalation, bend your knees, push into your feet. Lift and roll up through your spine to come up. Yeah, and then step your feet back together and just stand in mountain pose for a breath. Bring strain and tension out of the legs, out of the feet, and just stand. Brighten the soles of your feet. Just feel the soles of your feet. Balance between inner and outer ankle, back and front of foot. Okay, and then triangle pose to standing half moon pose, and then we'll come back down toward the floor. Okay, so if you use a block, have a block. Set the block for the impending standing balance, and then just widen the feet again. I'm gonna start with the right foot out and the left foot back today. Arms wide, reach. You feel the lift of this top left arm through the bicep, through the shoulder, through the front of the shoulder. And then look forward toward your block. Look forward to your block. And then adjust your stance. So you can reach the block, bring your back foot a little more forward so you can reach your block. Then shift and lift. Good. Finish this breath, take one more. Good. Let your left foot come to the mat next to your right foot, and then find Uttanasana from here. Come back up to stand, rolling back up through your spine. Come up, Uttanasana mountain pose. Okay. Long step back, right foot. High arms, long arms, reach, push the feet. Push the left foot to extend the left knee, lift the left thigh up into the hip socket so that the pelvis tilts, the hips tilt. And then lower left hand to shin, reach up through your right arm. Give it another breath. Lower your top hand to your hip. Bring your back foot forward. So you can reach your block out into your left hand. Shift your weight, lift your right leg. Re-extend your right arm. Good. Get a little longer from crown to tailbone. Drop your shoulders away from your ears, extend your neck. Last breath. Lower right foot into the space where it's next to your left foot. From Uttanasana, take a breath. Bring your hands to your hips and then squeeze into your upper back to come up. Lift through the space between your shoulder blades. Upper back lifts you back up to stand. Inhale, take your arms over your head. Exhale, fold back into Uttanasana. Half forward fold, inhale. Exhale, palms to the floor, walk your feet back, high push-up position. Inhale here. Exhale, come down. Turn your toes back as much or as little back bend as you want and stay very low. Take another breath here. Oh, hi. Hi, Mr. Tail. Good, and then slide your palms down a little closer to your chest so that your elbows come up, flex elbows into your sides, and then from there, push the floor. Arms tight to your sides. Use the strength of your shoulders to come up onto all fours. And then let's go forward again with your legs. Walk your heels forward, feel your legs lengthen, your heels lengthen away from your sit bones. Good, and then just upright in your spine, as upright as you can be, and use the press of your palms into the floor to help you stay nice and upright and tall. Push the floor, you push into the knuckles, right? The base knuckles under your fingers, push there and push out into your fingers more than down into your wrists. Maybe squeeze them out a little bit with the tips of your fingers. Take some of that pressure off of your wrists. Two more breaths. Dandasana, staff pose. Oh. Let all of that go. Then bring your hands together, interlace your fingers, right? And then with your knuckles, paint a little infinity wave with your knuckles. Figure 8, infinity wave. Go loose through your wrists. Come to the center and then reverse direction. Yeah, and then let that go. Let's bring up the right foot. You could keep the right foot right here in line with the right hip to turn, to do twist. If you feel like that little extra bit of squeezing kind of intensity through the rotation, you can step the foot over, cross it over to the outside of the left knee. Wherever you are, just ensure that you can still find that tall spine, and then elbow to knee or elbow to outside of the knee, right hand behind you, turn and breathe. Two more breaths here. Maybe look forward. Last couple of breaths, look forward. Yeah, facilitate more twist through, from here down, from here through the rib cage spine, less in your neck, less in your lumbar spine, more in this sort of mid back and upper back area. Okay, extend that leg. Bring up your left foot. You could just stand, or you could step it over, and then tall, right knee to chest, chest to knee. Left hand behind you. Right arm up, elbow to the outside of knee, or elbow wraps the knee. Hug onto the knee. Use it to help turn the ribs. Two more breaths. Look forward toward your extended leg. Let your arms go. Let your legs go. Let's take the soles of the feet together, knees wide, for like maybe 8 breaths. Kind of more yin approach to cobbler's pose or Supta Baddha Konasana bound angle pose, which means that just bring the soles of your feet together. Let your knees fall and just like lie where they lie. Let them come wherever gravity takes them. You're not pushing or supporting. And then you can be really round to come forward. So if you drop your chin to your chest, you let a whole front of the spine. There'll be more inflections. You're more rounded here in the back. And then just let the weight of the upper body curl forward in any amount. No discomfort in the knees, no discomfort in the spine and the lower spine. Just take it as it comes. Take release as it comes and just breathe. 4 or 5 more breaths. Yeah, and then just walk your fingertips back up to lift your spine. Grab onto your knees and bring your knees up and in. Scoot your heels forward. And then if you have a block, let's just do a brief supported bridge pose. Block support or a bolster if you prefer a bolster, have one. And okay, so that comes either low and wide across the sacrum. That's as much height as you want to bring underneath your hips. Just be right there in the low, wide, flat block, or you can turn it, just to bring it out from under you, flip it up 1. So it's on its long, skinny side, but then rotate it 90 degrees. So the long edge runs vertical, like your spine. Right, and you could just be here, especially with the block higher. You might just want to stay like this. If it doesn't create discomfort in your low back and your sacrum, and you want to extend a leg and just get that little extra bit of extension in the front of the hip, and go there. That just puts too much arch in your back. You can pull your other knee in, just readjust, right, the way the weight is hitting the prop. Good. Nice deep hip opener for the front of the hips. You switch when you're ready to switch. If it's available, right, you can also try bringing one knee up, grabbing the ankle of that foot, and tucking those toes down. Get on the top of the foot like hero's pose, right? And then just kind of keep wedging the top of the foot up next to the block. And then the knee is bent and the knee is pointing out toward the foot of the mat. And it's just a little more quad stretch, quad extension, hip extension, right? Or just go long with that leg again like you did the first side. Slide extended foot back up. Feel the balanced weight across the block, across your prop. Good. And then just if you want to, just before we bring the spine to the floor, before we get rid of the block, if you want to, bring your feet in a little closer so that when you lift your heels and push into the balls of your feet, bring your hips up off the block, come up as high as you're comfortable coming, and then see if you can turn the block onto its tallest edge, and then sit that directly underneath your sacrum. Let your heels fall back down to the floor. Again, this is when you just decide, nope, not going that high, I'm not getting up on the block that high, just don't. It feels free. If your back feels free enough to kind of just play and experiment with this, you can just try it for a breath. What that feels like. A little, it's asking you to arch into your upper back a little more than anything else. Upper back, more chest open, more of that upper part of your spine off the floor. And then let's just come off. Just come off the block. So lift your heels, push into the balls of your feet, squeeze into the backs of the hips. Unwedge that block out from under you, and then spine back down. Hips back down to the floor. Knees to chest, gently. Side to side across your back. And then from here, anything else you might need, anything else you might want here, make your practice complete. That was, if you played with the tall version of the block, it's a pretty deep arch of the spine. If you just want to drop your knees to one side for a couple of breaths, right, rotate the spine, relax, twist, a few breaths each side, and then Shavasana. Couple of breaths to each side, and then Shavasana, the corpse pose. Few minutes here, but still just taking care with the environmental considerations. Lighting directly over your eyes. Take care with that. Take just a couple of minutes. Not a long Shavasana, a couple of minutes to just really rest. Allow your nervous system to integrate. Allow for integration. Allow for integrity. Let's take the last 3-4 breaths. You might let your head fall from side to side, turn your head from side to side. A little movement through your fingers, into your toes. And come from our backs onto your most comfortable side. Take a breath on your side. Press from the floor to come up from there. Once again, upright in your spine, fully upright in your spine. Maybe reach your arms over your head, fully extend. One last full extension in your practice. The palms together in front of your heart and close your practice here. Honor your time, honor your intention until you return to your mat. Thanks for your time. Namaste.